So you want to get married. Should you use a fiancé visa, or is there another option available to you and your future spouse? Listen to Immigration Wednesdays to find out today. Hi, I'm attorney Jeff Peak, and I get calls all the time from people who tell me, hey, I want to file for a fiancé visa for my girlfriend or my boyfriend, and we want to get married. And I'm always curious, like, why do they know they want to file for a fiancé visa? Maybe it's because the proliferation of shows like the 90-Day Fiancé, and they think that's the way you have to go when you're not married yet, as if there's no other options. And so what's very interesting is to understand the purpose of the fiancé visa and when it's a good fit and when it's not a good fit. Now, some of this has to do with where the person is, right? So if you are engaged or dating somebody who's already in the United States, remember, the fiancé visa really was intended to bring somebody from outside the United States who can't otherwise be in the United States in if you know you want to get married. Now, a lot of times that if you want to get married is very important because it goes to a key question of immigrant intent. Does this person really want to come here to marry when they're coming over, or are they just coming to visit and hang out? And that can be the difference between somebody needing a fiancé visa or not, right? But typically the fiancé visa is the best fit for people who are outside the United States and they have no way of coming in the United States. They don't have a tourist visa. They're not a part of a country that does ESTA, which is one of the visa waiver countries, mainly most of Europe, Australia, some other places that can come in without a visa. Or they're not here on an F-student visa. They're not coming in on a work visa. They're outside the United States. Maybe you met outside the United States. Maybe you met online. That's very, very common these days. And you want to get married, but they can't come here to get married. And if you go there to get married, then you can't come back with them. So that's generally the person who's the best suited when you're talking about for fiancé visa. Somebody outside the United States, they have no way to come in the United States legally. If you have somebody who's already on a tourist visa, or like I said, they already have some kind of visa they can come here, then you want to be careful, and it's very important to probably talk to an immigration attorney before you get married, before you do anything, because there may be other alternatives depending on how they entered the United States, when they entered the United States. If they're outside the United States, are they coming back anytime soon? What is the purpose of that visit? There's a lot of questions in there that an experienced immigration attorney will know to ask to make sure if there's any way that you may be able to get your residency inside the United States and you don't even need a fiancé visa. You can go ahead and get married here in the United States and go through a different process called adjustment of status. So it's not always clear when is it eligible. I've had people tell me they've looked online, they didn't even know that was a possibility. And it's not 100% of the time it's a possibility, but there are many, many times that I've found, oh, you absolutely can stay here in the United States and get your residency without the need to leave the United States or apply for a fiancé visa and be separated potentially for over a year while you're waiting on that. So I wanted to make sure that people understood that. Don't just assume because you want to get married that you have to go through a fiancé visa. That can be the case for some people, not always the case for everybody. Definitely talk to an immigration attorney before you make travel plans, wedding plans. The worst thing people do sometimes, and I know this from experience, I did this too when I was a really, really young attorney, hadn't really gotten to immigration law yet. I already planned my wedding before I really realized the ins and outs of all the different visa rules and how we're going to get status. And you can complicate, you may have to end up canceling a wedding and cause problems. But if you talk to an attorney ahead of time, you're doing yourself a big favor because you can figure out all the avenues that are possible for you and pick what fits best for you. I hope that's some help. Remember, you got two options, the K-1 or fiancé visa, or marriage inside the United States through adjustment of status. And there's a third possibility where you're getting status outside the United States through marriage. Those are basically your three options when you're talking about getting married. Make sure you're going to pick the right one that fits your situation, and definitely consult with an attorney. Even if you think you're going to do the process yourself, consult with an attorney just to make sure, get clarification, because people make lots of mistakes and sometimes end up delaying processes because they chose the wrong step or they did something different that they didn't need to do. And what could have been done in a year, now they're in a 2-year process or even longer. So don't make those mistakes. And best of luck to you if you're getting married. And give us a call. We'd love to help guide you through the process. I'll talk to you next Wednesday.